Hi there, this is Datila, and welcome to the TNAIW GoGo Power Rankings show. As always, I'm joined by my two co-hosts. First, to my right, he is the star of the show, and he allegedly has no relation to Steve Macklin, the one and only Burt Macklin.
As always, it's a great introduction. Feeling better this week. Ready to discuss these rankings as always.
Nice. But first, before we get into that, I gotta introduce my second co-host. He not only is the godfather of the Power Rankings, he's the DNA of LL TNAIW. Lucha, A. Smith.
You're
All right, well, we had a good show as we continue to build to Slammiversary. Burt, who do you expect to see on this week's Power Rankings?
I would obviously the normal people, the machine guns, just because they are our champions, X Division and world champion. Hopefully we see Deanna near the top as well. But I want to see Moose Myers in the good hands somewhere on here. I think they got a big win and kind of maybe put some people on notice this week.
What about you, Lucha? Who do you expect to see on this week's Power Rankings?
I rather enjoy this run of domination the machine guns are on. I'm hoping it continues to the point where people start to get mad that the machine guns are always number one. But it's like, bro, they keep winning, they keep dominating, and they're still the world and X division champions. So you kind of got to come big if you want to take them off that number one spot. And I just don't think anyone will, at least until Slammiversary.
They're basically Alabama football right now. No one's stopping them.
Yeah,
they have all the best. They have all the best recruits. No one's beating them.
Where's their LSU? Where's their Oklahoma? You know what I'm saying? Where's their Ohio State? We ain't got them yet, at least not from what I've seen.
Again, I'm not following the sports references here, but I get what you're saying.
Also, I want to see if Jody Threat gets her love and makes it to the top 10 because, she got a win on that show you don't watch. So it will be interesting to see if she can, get some love on the top 10 here.
But Impact did a good job of showing the highlights from that match this week. So hopefully
they always do.
I don't seem to catch it then because I watch the show every week, so it's like I don't remember them. Maybe it was in a good place this week because I just remember it standing out a lot more than it usually did. Maybe it's because it also led to an angle as well backstage.
Could be. All right. Well, with that being said, let's play these Power Rankings. Number 10, number 1 contender Nick Aldis. Number 9, Moose Myers in the good hands. Number 8, number 1 contender Trinity. Number 7, tag team champions ABC. Number 6, Killer Kelly. Number 5, Jonathan Gresham and Mike Bailey. Number 4, Steve Macklin and Bully Ray. Number 3, digital media champion Joe Hendry. Number 2, world champion Deanna Purrazzo. Number 1, the Motor City Machine Guns.
Dear fucking God. What the hell?
Wow, okay. Some interesting power rankings here. I wanted to talk about 3 numbers first. Let's start with number 8, Trinity. Number 9, Moose Myers in the good hands. And number 10, Nick Aldis. The reason why I say that is because actually Trinity, Moose Myers, and the good hands tied with 23 points each. So I put Trinity at number 8 and Moose Myers and the good hands at 9. And not only that, but Trinity is also ranked higher than the other number one contender, Nick Aldis. Burt, I'll let you go first. What do you think of Trinity tying with Moose Myers in the good hands? Should she be at number 8? Would you switch it? And how do you feel about her being higher than the second number one contender, Nick Aldis?
Trinity should be higher than them, even though she wasn't on the show. But I do think, though, that Moose Myers and them, I voted for them number 1 this week. I don't know if that's called a real shot. I just think their whole, whether it was Brian Myers' promo, I think we saw the 2 new successful graduates of the learning tree, the Brian Myers School of Wrestling, whatever you want to call it, and then obviously Impact. And then you just see Moose come out there and help him for the win. This is a cohesive unit. And maybe if we want to talk in the bigger picture of the power rankings canon, Lucha, correct me if I'm wrong, there's 2 people in the machine guns, and how many people are in Brian Myers Moose? How many people is Brian Myers Moose in the good hands? How many would that be? That's 4. So maybe we're seeing, I think the strategy's out, It's kind of like when something new happens in the NFL, everyone starts copying it, So everyone knows the formula now. They know how they have to, how they know what it's going to take to achieve power rankings dominance and get that number 1 spot. So it's about strength in numbers.
I couldn't have said it better myself, Bert. You're right. You're absolutely right. Lucha, what are your thoughts?
Wrong, because it's quality over quantity. Yeah, there's 4 people in that alliance, right? Moose Myers and the good hands. All right, answer me this question. Between all 4 men, how many belts do they all have?
Okay.
Okay
2
is not a number.
2. Oh, I mean, right now? Oh, they have none.
Yeah, exactly. No,
but they're gonna get some.
Yeah, but they don't have any. Point. Everyone is playing 2023 rules while the machine guns are on 2024. Yeah, they clicked up and got to where they got, but the game got taken to a new level once they added gold. Now, the moment that both of them had belts, that click up shit don't mean nothing unless there's gold behind it at this point. So they still have this gap between them and everyone else because they've taken it to the next level. Like, let Moose win a belt, then okay, maybe we cooking with a little something here. But until any of them have a belt, they're still on 2023 rules. The machine guns are on 2025 rules. Now, as far as everything else, I agree with Trinity being ahead, winning that tiebreak because it's a momentum thing. Like Moose Myers and the good hands weren't totally a thing until this past week. There's been other combinations because they always flirt with the idea and they never really, went all in on it. So they're still shit. For all we know, next week it might just be the good hands with no Moose and Myers, or it might just be Moose and Myers with no good hands. So we're not even sure if this is a unit.
Let me just say, yes, and yeah, they are a unit. Yes, the machine guns are great, but let me ask you, who do they have coming off the bench? They rely too much on their starters. That's what I'm saying. Brian Myers and Moose, they got Hodge and Skyler coming off the bench. They got them playing solid minutes. That's why they're going to be number 1 soon. I
understand that LeBron James and Kevin Durant is going to need a bench, but when you're Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant, you don't need a bench because you can hold it down 2-on-5. It doesn't even matter.
Okay. That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. Also, Nick Aldis. Only thing Nick Aldis is lucky he's on top 10, in my honest opinion, because really the only thing he really had happen to him was his personal interviewer got kicked halfway to Wednesday.
I also think, to talk about Nick Aldis real quick, I've never seen a more predictable heel turn. Just because, and there was like a lot of reasons to it, and that's why I just think that like him be where he's at, I just don't think. Obviously, he could be Alex Shelley. I don't see Alex Shelley dropping the title right now. I'm not interested. I can speak on myself. I don't think the rankings committee is that interested in Nick Aldis right now. So him being number 10 makes total sense.
He does too much this. We saw through it a long time ago. You know, my man kept talking his way to top 5 ranks. And it feels like after a while, they're like, look, bro, you're going to have to start producing some matches.
And that's the other thing, too. I think of people, Nick Aldis isn't really, nothing's changed from when he was in Impact before. And the Impact of now is there are so many incredible people in the ring every night. You know, you got to do more than just, like Lucha said, than just cut promos and wear fancy suits. Even though those suits are nice, you know, you got to go in the ring once in a while and prove it.
Definitely, I feel what you're saying. Alrighty, then. Let's talk about number 7, ABC, our tag team champions. I'm surprised to see them at number 7, you know? But they weren't on the show this week, so with that, they landed at number 7. They didn't even make top 5, yet they're a tag team champion. So, Lucha, do you want to go first on this one and explain to me why ABC made number 7 instead of top 5? Was it because they didn't appear on the show?
It might have something to do with it. I know I personally had them in number 4 on mine just because I gave them the champions rub. But that might have been actually what got them to this point, really, was just simple fact that they're champs. I guess not everybody was as high on the tag team champions for some odd reason. I don't know. The guys have been on fire since winning the belts. So for them to be as low as 7 is a little crazy to me, but I'm glad that they're getting respected on the top 10 on a weekly basis, unlike the other tag team champions we have.
Burt, your thoughts on ABC being number 7?
I two things. I think that Impact having such a deep roster, and then there only being 10 spots in one TV show a week kind of hurts because, like, if you're not on the show, even if you are a champion, yes, like being a champion is going to get you some extra points, but you know, not everyone's going to vote for you just because you're a champion. Like, people vote. There's no set rules to vote. So, like I said, like, we've seen carries the most weight is being on the show. That's most likely who's going to be on the rankings every week or people on the show, and they weren't on the show. I voted for them. I'm trying to find out where I voted for them. Oh, I voted for the number 4 this week. And again, like, that's I don't know if anybody. I think maybe one other person voted for them as high, or even voted for them. Period. But yeah, they're not on the show, and even if they are champions, I feel that should get them on the top 10 every week. Not everyone feels that way, so I don't know what else. What are you gonna do?
It's interesting that ABC, who are tag team champions and didn't make the show, are number 7. Yet the Coven, who are also tag team champions, were actually on the show. And they didn't make the power rankings. I guess it's because Killer Kelly defeated Taylor Wilde. So, what are your thoughts on that? Burt, you can go first on this one.
Killer Kelly, I think that her being where her at is kind of a culmination of the storyline we've been seeing with her. Obviously, she gets a big win, but then there's stuff with her and Masha at the end. I just think that her being as high where she's at is almost like when you're kind of like foreshadowing like a recruit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think there's going to be big things for her. So I think her where she's at, I don't think that that's, you know, like too far-fetched to where she's going to be in the future. And I think she could be even higher going forward.
I think Masha and her are going to become a tag team and take those tag titles off the cover.
Yeah, I do as well.
Lucha, you seem. What are your thoughts?
You know what? See what I just did? I just took the cape off because I'm no longer gonna be Captain Save a Coven and talk about how they're getting disrespected on the power rankings, because I just thought about it. They take probably the most non-title losses of any team in Impact at the moment. As we just saw, Kelly beat Taylor. Non-title action. Like, they're taking too many non-title L's here. Like, I mean, ABC kind of went, they had that one slip up where Hotch got that dub, but for the most part, non-title matches, they're holding it down. When's the last time the Machine Guns have lost a non-title match? Granted, they're both recently champs, but you can't even recall the last time they've lost a match, period.
Didn't they lose to ABC?
For the belts, when they lost the belts, that was probably their last loss. Yeah. And they kept teaming afterwards, especially with Time Machine when Kushida was there for a bit. So yeah, I'm taking the cape off. And that's what makes Kelly being as high as she is make sense to me, because she got a win, a non-title win over champs. And I can't tell you how many they have. The Coven have a lot. So I'm done. I'm done putting the cape on for them. They need to start getting some non-title wins so they can, have some form of some sort of a case to make it on the power rankings, even in a dormant week. That's it.
Okay, so this is interesting. Numbers 5 and 4, 5 being Jonathan Gresham and Speedball Mike Bailey, and number 4 being Steve Macklin and Bully Ray. The interesting part is that Jonathan Gresham and Mike Bailey, they're not really, I know they tag team before, but they're not official tag team yet. They defeated the Design. And Steve Macklin and Bully Ray, they're also not a tag team. Yeah, they have some type of partnership or alliance going on. They defeated Frankie Kazarian and Eddie Edwards. So what do you think made Steve Macklin and Bully Ray stand out over Jonathan Gresham and Mike Bailey? Was it just the main event, or was there something else? Or did they do something more to take the number 4 spot over Jonathan Gresham and Mike Bailey? Lucha, you want to go first?
I mean, to me, it's just a simple fact of they're more of a official alliance than Gresham and Bailey. Gresham and Bailey, they seem to just be a team where, we need someone to go out and, be a hot tag team. We got you. Throw them out there. But at least Bully Ray and Steve Macklin, they have some, working together under their belt, and they're already scheduled for a tag match at Slammiversary. So it's really as simple as that. And I guess the main event might have a little bit to do with that, but at least to tell them apart, it's that simple fact.
Burt?
Well, real quick, let me let you on a little power rankings inside real quick. Insider information. If when the rankings, when people are voting, if most people vote for two people together when they team and not separate, we're going to count them as a team that week. And most people, when voting for Gresham and Bailey, voted them as a team. So that's how we count them. As opposed to where they're at this week, I think that Macklin and Bully Ray being ahead is because they're like more of a team as of right now, and they have a big match going forward. So them teaming together just, it's kind of them building chemistry toward their match. And obviously you saw after the match, they seem to be a cohesive unit right now. So, and Gresham and Bailey, did they had a match against Kazarian and Eddie Edwards? Was that who they wrestled?
Macklin and Bully Ray, yeah.
No, okay, that's who they wrestled. Okay, never mind. But yeah, and then I just want to say, when it comes to Gresham and Bailey, they haven't been on the show in, it feels like a couple weeks, unless I'm not remembering right. But it just kind of shows their popularity. They come back, they get a dub, and then they're that high in the rankings, so they're not champions. So, and they're ahead of a lot of people. Two champions. So good for them.
Yeah, that is interesting. I mean, like Lucha said, they team up when they need to, but they're not really much of an alliance. They're unlike Steve Macklin and Bully Ray.
They're kind of like one of those teams just like built on respect because they just like had so many classics with each other. You know what I mean? We've seen that in wrestling history through the years.
Hey, I mean, you're right. We have, because that most definitely sounds like the beginning days of Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley.
Okay, there you go.
Alrighty then, coming in at number 3, say his name and he appears. And I'm not talking about Burt Macklin. I'm talking about our digital media champion, Joe Hendry, who had a big victory over up and coming Yuya Uemura. Incredible match, by the way. Yuya is a star in the making. I cannot stress that enough. He is a star. He has so much potential. I definitely do see him being champion in the future, though. And of course, at the end of the match, Kenny KING King came out, and it seems like we're gonna get Joe Hendry versus Kenny KING King. So,
well, if you remember right, Kenny King, along with Sheldon Jean, who under the leadership of Kenny King is also a star in the making. If you ask me, he didn't even have to say anything. He came out looking like a star. You know what I mean? And it's because of Kenny King. I don't believe in Joe Hendry. And Kenny King's words sealed the deal. And it wasn't like Kenny King wasn't speaking facts, because he even said Yuya Uemura was a star. And didn't you just say that, Datila? That Yuya is a star? And you only speak facts. I've never heard you tell a lie. So you have to agree with Kenny King. You know what I mean? So he said Yuya is a star. And you just heard Joe, he just said, Kenny King said he didn't believe anything Joe Hendry's saying. And I'm a big Kenny King fan. So I believe in Kenny KING. I can't say it like you do. You say it better. But I believe in Kenny King. So Joe Hendry, he's a champ, but I don't think for long. I think Kenny King's coming for that belt.
Lucha?
It's a damn shame this boy up here speaking blasphemy. Look, I believe in 252 pounds of pure motivation, okay? I believe in Joe Hendry.
So do I.
I do not, however, believe that he should have been ranked higher than Knockout's #1 contender Trinity, though. Yeah, he got a win over Yuya Uemura, but like, how much weight does that hold in power rankings? Honestly, the Trinity's momentum that she's carried basically since she debuted for the company in the top 10 week after week outweighs any win over Yuya Uemura that you could possibly get, no matter how hard fought the match is. And it's no knock on Yuya, because I like Yuya, but just put those up against each other. They don't weigh the same. So I'm not really a fan of how those two are. If Joe Hendry is going to be number 3, that's fine by me. But if Trinity's got to be over him, so she's got to be a number 2. But then you see how tight that would make things if you start moving things around of that nature. So we just have hell breaking loose, basically.
And you're right, and it's not just because of the momentum of her and the storyline that she's in. In terms of order of where belts are ranked, the Knockouts World title is far above the Digital Media Championship. You know what I mean? I would so yeah, Trinity should be higher than Joe Hendry. I completely agree. You wrote the book on these rankings, so I completely agree.
I'll talk about this after we finish the rankings, but it's no surprise. Coming in at number 2, once again, our Knockouts champion, Deonna Purrazzo. And we talked about this last week. I feel like she's going to be number 2 as long as the Machine Guns hold both titles. But maybe at Slammiversary, if she main events, maybe she could come in at number 1.
She don't even necessarily have the main event. All she has to do is win. Because look at the momentum from her opponent, who would be her opponent, from a week to week basis, Trinity is always in the mix at some point. So Deanna getting that win over someone who's always in the mix has got to mean more than. I mean, we don't even know what Chris Sabin's doing for Slammiversary yet, but we know Alex Shelley is defending against Nick Aldis, and we already discussed how Nick Aldis isn't necessarily on the committee's good side right now. So what does a win over Nick Aldis gonna do for Alex Shelley in the big picture based off those facts? So all Deanna has to do is win at Slammiversary, and at least in mine, but I know the committee should think the same, and this should hold more weight. Deanna's got to overtake at that point.
Burt?
Yeah, it's going to take one of the machine guns losing their titles and Deanna retaining for her to overtake that number one spot. Just because, like I said before, it's not insurmountable, the lead that they're going to have every week. But all they did this week was super kick somebody backstage, and just with them being X Division World Champion, that they're still number one. So again, it's going to be difficult. Exactly.
I'm curious though as to what would happen if, like, let's say Chris Sabin is left off the card, and then Alex Shelley beats Nick Aldis, but it's not the main event. What happens then?
Well, they're not. Are you talking about for Slammiversary?
Yeah, for Slammiversary.
Well, I don't think that they're both. There's no way there's not going to be an X Division title match at Slammiversary. Slammiversary is like one of Impact's big four, so they're going to be some sort of exit. And like I said, I think I said last week, I see it being some sort of special stipulation match, whether it's Ultimate X or something along the lines of that, just because it is Slammiversary. And if Chris Sabin wins that match, I definitely see that match being better than the world title match, even if Alex Shelley retains, which I do think he will. I don't see that match being better than the X Division match. The X Division match usually is the best match on the card. So, and if you put like 5 other X Division people in it, and they usually have a surprise or two, that's going to steal the show.
I agree. Lucha, what are your thoughts?
Okay, I'm even gonna stay in the realm that you presented us, with Sabin actually getting left off the card. It depends, honestly. Regardless, if Shelley wins if Shelley wins you said if Shelley wins the belt or wins the match, but it's not the main event. It depends on who wins between Deanna and Trinity. I firmly believe that if Trinity beats Deanna, the machine guns will still be number one. But if Deanna beats Trinity, Deanna will overtake number one.
Nice. Okay. I'm cool with that.
Yeah, same.
Okay. All right. So now for a little segment we like to call which match has the most power rankings implications.
God, it's so wordy. I love it.
I didn't know what to call it, so I just said the name.
Nah, it's good.
Which match this coming week do you think has the most power ranking implications?
Well, here on Tuesday, this isn't Sunday night at all. Of course not. But here on Tuesday, the only matches we have announced thus far are Jay Vidal versus Trinity and the X Division title rematch between Chris Sabin and Trey Miguel. So just by default, because it's a title match, I'm automatically going with Chris Sabin versus Trey Miguel, because it's not only a title match, but this is Trey Miguel's chance to get some shine back on the power rankings and do what many people will probably want to happen at this point, and that's the Motor City Machine Guns get taken out as number one on the power rankings. It's kings of the mountain, if you will. That may be a lot of pressure on Trey Miguel, but I know Trey Miguel know a thing or two about pressure, if you know what I mean. So it's gonna be fun.
I think both matches have equal amount of are equal, and just in terms of, because obviously if Chris Sabin loses, that's going to impact where the machine guns are in the rankings. But I think Trinity, if she gets a win, and obviously the machine guns and Chris Sabin retains, I think Trinity will be number 2 next week, or she has at least a good chance of being number 2, because she is still number 1 contender. So I think both matches have high implications.
I have to agree because obviously Chris Sabin wins. Motor City Machine Guns keep their spot. By some, odd chance Sabin loses, that's gonna affect the. Oh, what about? Hold on. I have an interesting scenario. What if Sabin does lose, but it's by DQ? So it's not a clean finish. Would that affect anything?
You will still hear your winner and still.
Yeah, it's in still.
Okay. But I do agree with Burt. Trinity versus Jay Vidal does also have power ranking implications because Trinity is number 1 contender and she's been making the power rankings. And so it would be interesting to see what would happen if Jay Vidal, by some miracle, defeats Trinity. I mean, he's beating the number 1 contender.
I mean, it would be a big deal if Jay Vidal gets the upset win, but just looking at it from Trinity, how does she benefit here? When's the last time Jay Vidal's even sniffed the top 10, top 20 even? Who's even given this dude a vote yet? Honestly. So, that's like Alabama beating Southern Southeastern Louisiana Tech University 99-3, and they get first place votes. It's like, yeah, you're supposed to beat these dudes.
Exactly.
So I wouldn't see how Trinity winning over Jay Vidal would do her any favors.
Yeah, that's true.
Now, that's not saying she should throw the match. I'm not saying that at all. But just in the realm of the power rankings, realistically, she beat Jay Vidal next week. Highest she could be is 7.
Yeah.
True. I guess we had to wait and see. All right. Well, with that being said, I think we got through all the power rankings, and we chose which match we thought was going to have the most power ranking implications. So, with that being said, there's nothing more to do besides say goodbye. So, thank you guys all so much for watching and for the continued support. It means the world to us that you guys still continue to watch our show. From the bottom of our hearts, thank you. But make sure you don't forget to like and subscribe, and you hit that bell so you get notified whenever this video drops or whenever TNAIW releases content such as Lucha. What type of content are we talking about here?
Well, this coming Wednesday, TNA 2K Wednesdays returns with the Athena Cup. Stay tuned to the Twitter to see what matches get announced that are going to go down on Wednesday. But we're starting the 2023 Athena Cup, the tournament to crown our Knockouts World Champion. So y'all take a look at the brackets. I've already seen the brackets, obviously. And let me just say, these first round matchups are gonna be a doozy.
Nice. I can't wait for it, Lucha. Alrighty. Well, we'll see you guys next week. Bye.